You're looking for a chair that's not just a piece of furniture, but a daily partner that actually makes getting up and relaxing easier, and you don't want to waste money on a gadget that looks fancy on paper but turns into a headache at home. That hesitation wondering if the motor will quit after a month, if the heat will feel like a lukewarm blanket, or if the oversized claim ends up feeling cramped keeps most of us scrolling for a while before we click. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'm going to walk through why this KswyyuwxgqI Oversized Power Lift Chair might be the answer for some, and why it could be a miss for others. First off, let's talk about the everyday scenario that brings a lift recliner into the picture. Imagine you're an older adult who enjoys watching TV after dinner, but the simple act of standing up from a regular sofa leaves you feeling wobbly. Or picture a caregiver who spends hours sitting beside a loved one, needing quick access to a cup of tea and a place to stash the remote without getting up. In those moments, a chair that can lift you up with the press of a button, give you a warm hug of heat, and massage away the stiffness of a long day feels less like a luxury and more like a practical tool. That's the niche this chair aims to fill. The biggest selling point here is the power lift mechanism. When you press the side button, the chair gently rises just enough to bring your feet to a level where standing is smooth and stable. For anyone with limited leg strength or arthritis, that motion can mean the difference between a safe transition and a risky stumble. I've seen people describe the lift as almost like an elevator for your hips, and while I haven't taken the chair home myself, the design is straightforward, a motorized base that pushes the seat upward while keeping the backrest in its reclined position. It's not a full-body lift, so you still have to shift your weight a bit, but for most seniors it's a noticeable help. Now, the massage and heat functions are where the chair tries to go beyond the basic lift. There are 8 massage points spread across the lower back and thighs, with 5 preset modes ranging from a gentle pulsing to a deeper kneading rhythm. In real-life use, that translates to a quick after-lunch session where the chair can target the lower back after a long drive, or a pre-bedtime routine where the heat soothes tight muscles before you settle in for the night. The heat element runs at a modest temperature warm enough to take the chill off a cold room but not so hot that it feels like a heating pad left on too long. If you're the type who likes a strong, sauna-level heat, you'll probably find it underwhelming. But for a subtle, comforting warmth, it hits the mark. Fabric matters, too, especially when the chair is meant to be used for hours each day. The fleece upholstery is described as soft, anti-pilling, and warm. In practice, that means it won't develop those unsightly little balls of fuzz after a few months of use, and it holds up better against the inevitable spills from a coffee mug or a glass of juice. The material is also thicker than a typical chair cover, so it feels a bit more like sinking into a plush armchair rather than a hard plastic shell. If you have allergies to synthetic fabrics, you might want to double-check the exact composition, because fleece can vary from polyester blends to cotton mixes. The chair's color is a neutral brown, which tends to blend in with most living room decors without demanding attention. Storage is another practical angle. Both armrests feature pockets, perfect for a remote, a reading glasses case, or a small tablet. I've seen people with limited mobility appreciate the fact that they don't have to reach across the room for the TV remote. They can just slide it into the pocket and keep one hand free for the button that lifts the chair. There's also a built-in USB port, which is a small but handy addition for charging a phone or a hearing aid while you're settled. The cup holder is positioned where it's easy to grab without knocking over the side table, which is a subtle convenience that many larger recliners overlook. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs you should weigh before deciding. The chair is oversized, meaning it occupies a fair amount of floor space, roughly the size of a standard sofa. If you live in a smaller apartment or have a tight living room layout, you'll need to plan where to put it. The footprint also makes moving it a bit of a chore. The motorized base adds weight, so you'll likely need 2 people to reposition it, especially if you're on the 3rd floor of a building without an elevator. Assembly is another consideration. The manufacturer supplies detailed instructions, but there's no professional installation service included. If you're not comfortable with